build his, or we went through Jonathan's seal pool earlier. We know that he's on white-red, and just look through Ruth's. She is on white with blue. Both of these players, neither of these players playing the color that they opened. For those keeping score at home, Jonathan opened up blue as his color. Ruth opened up black as her color. Both ended up playing a white deck with a different color supporting it. Ruth going to start on the draw. Jonathan going to cast an Ordeal of Heliod on his 1-drop there. Attack and the Ordeal triggers. Going to drop Ruth down to 18. This is round 3 action of our Born of the Gods pre-release. Thank you all for joining us. I know it's late. Trust us, we know it's late. But this is one of the first peeks at these new cards. Ruth going to add her Winged Steed Rider to her side of the board. It's great to see Ruth play under the camera. She usually doesn't get to play too much Magic, but whenever she does, you gotta be scared sitting across from her. And that wall just will not give it up. Using your whip on your opponent's turn, very, very hard to do. I'll leave you to your own devices to try and figure out why. But I'm just going to say using a whip on your opponent's turn is an extremely difficult proposition. Ruth swung in for 1 last turn. Jonathan Wright going to swing in with his 1/1 again. Trigger that Ordeal. Make it a 3/3. And this is the Revoke Existence reprint. Gonna hit the enchantment creature. Ruth gonna swing in for 3. So Revoke Existence being used as a sorcery speed removal spell there. Ruth not making a mistake putting Revoke Existence in her main board. I know Jonathan has one as well. And there's a 100-handed one. 100-handed one actually one of Ruth's favorite cards, in a fit of hilarious irony. And doesn't have reach yet, so she can swing in with her flyers. And I think that's the Warden that she added to her. Nope, taking it back. What's that? I don't know what that card does. She has the Warden, which is the tapper for any creature with power 2 or less. But swapping it out with something that looks like it has a sun in it. That's my description of that card. Jonathan going to pile in with his 100-handed one. Of course, it has Vigilance. Elite Skirmisher. 3/1 that has a heroic ability of tap target creature. Alright. So Ruth's got a lot of power on her board, but is now facing down a 100-handed one, which is able to block a lot of dudes. Still doesn't have Monstrous yet, so still safe to attack with the flyers. And now we're going to bash in for 3. The 4 damage, we're going to Monstrosity it. Let's make that 6, put you on a 2-turn clock. Of course, Ruth has enough blockers to get in the way of this. But now things are looking very grim, as this 100-handed one can block Ruth's entire board and die in the process. But 3 for 1 your opponent is pretty good in Magic. I cannot update you all on Sam Hanna's green-white deck. I assume that it did well. And I know that Sam Hanna's green-white deck has a highly sought-after Bramaz in it. So, I don't think he's going to leave here with that card. I think he's going to leave here with other cards he wants, and someone else is going to trade for that and be very happy with it tonight. So Ruth unable to attack against this 100-handed one. For those who don't know, whenever 100-handed one goes monstrous, it gains reach and can block up to 99 creatures. Ruth designated her blocker, and also designating it as a chump blocker. Alrighty. Post-combat conscriptors. Going to meet a Stymied Hopes by Ruth. Not a bad play here. Stymied Hopes going to make Jonathan pay 1. So any tricks that he had to target this conscriptors, Ruth's definitely gotten rid of. Holy Sudden Storm. That's gonna be able to get around this 100-handed one. And wow, if Jonathan doesn't have a way to untap his guy, play another guy, or gain control of Ruth's creatures, he's on a 2-turn clock. The conscriptors on his side of the board has a heroic ability that does what you think it does. Like Zealous Conscripts, it will take control of one of your creatures and give it haste until end of turn. So Ruth Paladin in there for 5. That Stymied Hopes, I want to check with Jonathan afterwards and see if that Stymied Hopes interrupted any of his plans. I would assume that it did, but you never know. So his creatures don't untap this turn. Wow, Ruth stealing game 1 off of good old Frost Breath. Jonathan keeping 7. Defy 13. I don't know what to tell you, man. If you don't like how our most casual player in the entire store, in fact, one of our most casual players in the entire state, in fact, one of the most casual players to ever play Magic the Gathering, taps her lands, you might want to just go ahead and go to bed. So Jonathan's starting off with the same 1-mana 1/1 that he did last game. We'll see if he has an ordeal to Steel Dip with it this game as well, but nope. Just runs it straight into Ruth's face, dropping her down to 19. Sorry about these life totals. I'll get those updated. Follows it up with a Vanguard of Bramaz, which is a 2-mana 2/2 for 2 white. It has the heroic ability of give you a 1/1 Vigilant Kitty. Ordeal of Heliod. Going to trigger and give me a 1/1 kitty. That is not an exaggeration about her being casual. She could literally be the most casual player to ever play the game of Magic the Gathering. That would not surprise me. If there was a way to study that, and her name was at the top of the list, I would not be surprised. Ruth playing on Unknown Shores. Jonathan Wright getting in there for 3 with his kitty. Revoke his Existence, taking down that Ordeal. But Ruth facing down some intense pressure from Jonathan's white-red deck. as he now has 5 power on board on turn 4. Going to drop Ruth down to 10 and play in a Crone Hoplite. 2 mana 1/2 that can get a personal battlecry effect. I'm not going to argue with you about somebody that I know. Just know that I'm sitting here with a big grin on my face to anybody that says Ruth is not the most casual player in the world. She's a very good player. I'm never going to say that she's not one of the top players at the store, but she is. All of her cards could spontaneously combust right now, and I guarantee that she would not care. Regardless of what I think. Jonathan Wright serving in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Serving in for 10, so we're going to chump the big guy. Go back down to 5. And put Ruth on finding an answer to Jonathan's board. Ruth making both players shuffle their decks with her 1 mana 0/1. The card that Ruth played was the 1 mana 0/1 that has an ability where it puts the creature that it's blocking or blocked by both of those creatures on top of their owner's libraries, and then those players shuffle. Pretty neat pseudo removal spell that blue gets in this set. Wingsteed Rider. Wingsteed Rider comes down, and I hear Ruth let Jonathan know to have fun on his turn. So Ruth facing down a lot of damage. I don't think she has a profitable block here. Or, sorry, not a profitable block. A block that keeps her alive. But if she blocks there, she takes 5. We just had the discussion of not being able to use our Whip of Erebos defensively.
Because of sorcery.
And now someone's saying Ruth couldn't cast Supreme Verdict because she didn't have double blue. Alright, neither player taking too long to get shuffled up there. Neither player also starting with a 1-drop this game. Ruth dropping a 2 mana 1/1. See if Jonathan can work on establishing his board over there. And we know what this guy does. We saw this guy earlier. This is the Grizzly Bear that whenever he... the Grizzly Bear with literal upside. Whenever he untaps, you get an Inspire trigger that gains you 2 life. So Jonathan going to take the 1. Man, I'm slacking on these life totals. If I got judged on these life totals, updating these life totals, I would be getting an F right now. So that's taken care of. Ruth's going to go down to 18 off the attack from the Bear Cat. Grizzly Bear Cat. Cat Grizzly Bear. And there's the 3/1 coming down after combat. Jonathan holding back this turn to play a 2 mana instant. It one of your creatures deals damage equal to its power to another target creature. Hammer Striker, something like that. Then he gets his Inspire trigger, goes back up to 20 life. So he deals with Ruth 3/1 very efficiently with basically what was a 2 mana removal spell. gets to gain 2 life and then bash in for 2 more. Son, don't act like a dick to chat if you can't read it. Okay. Dad, you got me. So Ruth's going to play the 1/1 that becomes a 4/4 unless you want to give up one of your creatures. And this creature has flying too, so she gets to play the 5-mana 4/4. And the 5-mana 4/4 is going to block the 2/2. Ruth had to expect that was coming. We see Dauntless Onslaught from Jonathan. So we're going to trade with the 4/4 flyer. We're going to get a heroic trigger out of our Wingsteed Rider. But it's also going to give it +2 for the turn. So going to drop Ruth down to 11. Jonathan at a comfortable 21. This 1/1 from Ruth chipping away, but not making too much progress. And yep, that's what happens in the chat whenever you decide you want to go off. My combo goes on the stack on top of your going off, and my go off resolves, and you know that happens. Arguing with the moderator gets you there. So we're attacking with the 3/3 Wingsteed Rider. And there's the Vanguard. And the conscripts, or the hoplite. So very similar to last game. Jonathan filling up his board with some 2/2s and 1/2s. So there's an Aqueous form. I think that's the 2/2 guy that Ruth explaining her mini combo here, which is Aqueous form. She gets to scry 1 off of her attack here, and the creature that she has put Aqueous form onto has the Inspire ability of draw a card. So she will get to untap with this creature, draw whatever card she kept on top there. Sometimes in Limited, you see the combat tricks coming, there's nothing you can do about it. Dauntless Onslaught being the combat trick that Jonathan had there was definitely the worst one that she got. And Jonathan's just going to go ahead and win the game here, it looks like. Yep, so there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10. So Jonathan casting a Portent of Betrayal. And that's going to wrap it up. Jonathan winning 2-1 here.